everyone, welcome back to the Speaking Out Loud channel. I hope you guys are all having a fantastic, wonderful day. In this video, we are going to be watching some true crime TikTok. So I am a human trafficking advocate, and this is going to be my reaction to true crime TikToks because I don't really watch true crime TikToks at all. So you guys are going to see my reaction in real time to these true crime TikToks, and let's just start with the first TikTok.
Today, I am a corpse cleaner, and it's July 4th, and I am questioning my life decisions so fucking hard right now because I got a call about some idiot who literally blew himself up with fireworks. Classic July 4th wreckage. Of course, it's outside in some beat-up park where every dumbass with a Roman candle thinks that they're an arsonist. The air smells like burnt hair, spilled beer, and someone who recently won the Darwin Award. Because I roll up, and what do I find? A goddamn war zone. There's a crater where some dude named Chad used to stand, but is now filled with human wreckage and the remnants of the wife beater that he used to wear oh so stylishly. If you squint hard enough, you could even find the remains of his body scattered around like gory little Easter eggs just waiting for me to go hunt. Can't wait. His hands, mind you, gone. Just strings of sinew hanging limp from two gaping holes like overcooked wet spaghetti forgotten in the sink and left to congeal into soggy, unrecognizable, limp, twisted strands. Flesh and tendons, which are all exposed, mind you, are gnarled, torn, shredded, clinging to jagged bone like rags in a slaughterhouse. Whatever, I'm used to this. I suit up, gloves on, mask tight as fuck, because I know that this is going to be bad even though it's outside. I am picking through the mess, and it's not just blood, mind you. If it was just blood, this would be a walk in the park. Pun intended. It's goo. Thick and sludgy like the foul mix of brown water and hair that collects at the bottom of a mop bucket or a clogged drain. Can't do hair.
She can handle everything else, but she can't handle hair. Anyways, I'm glad that she does her job. I don't know if I could do that. I've seen dead bodies in a sheriff morgue, and like blood and stuff and organs, brain, kidneys, like all the gist. And I was able to handle it just fine. But then again, that's completely different from actually going and cleaning up a crime scene. I don't know if I can do that. Maybe. But with her, I can't sing, I can't do hair. I have a thing, I can't handle saliva. If you pee fine, I can clean that up. But saliva, just even thinking about it, makes me, I can't handle like spit bubbles and all that. I regret ever saying anything. Let's continue.
Can't do hair. Moving on. Meanwhile, the rest of the world just kept celebrating after Chad's face literally exploded. I am picking through body parts while entitled little shits run around with sparklers, their parents shotgunning beers just trying to escape the crushing weight of their suburban existence, which, by the way, I get, and some college kid home for the summer preaching some philosophy 101 bullshit about the meaning of freedom after pledging a frat filled with white dudes practically hemorrhaging generational wealth and who never had to face a real threat to their freedom a day in their privileged lives. Unless you count them running out of creatine right before spring break in Cabo. So maybe they do understand struggle. I am fucking elbow deep in charred remains, wishing that I could just dip out and enjoy a simple hot dog without the visceral reminder that it's really like biting into a greasy processed version of the human flesh that I scrape off of walls for a living. By the time I'm done here, though, this park is pristine. So happy birthday, America!
Honestly, I have huge respect to those that have to deal with this on the 4th of July, especially the firefighters, because there's always one idiot that decides to blow themselves up. ER nurses having to deal with people that blow off their like little tendons and their fingers, their phalanges. So I always think about that every 4th of July. I'm like, I bet cops, firefighters, and ER nurses dread this day just like New Year's Day and Thanksgiving, because there's always that one idiot. It's usually guys. So on to the next one.
It was Valentine's Day when police say they received a 911 call from this address.
Come on, Valentine's Day. Come on, Valentine's Day already sucks when you're single, and I'm single every single Valentine's Day. And I'm 20, I've been single, never had a real Valentine. So this already freaking sucks. Them having to discover a 19-year-old on Valentine's Day, guys.
A woman saying her daughter was having trouble breathing. When first responders got there, they found 19-year-old Delilah Villegas in a bedroom. But investigators say the girl had already been dead, anywhere from 6 to 24 hours earlier. According to police, there was an outline of her body on the concrete floor indicating she had been there for a long period of time.
It honestly hits home knowing that my brother was in class with her.
Anthony Johnson lives right next door. He says his brother went to high school with Villegas, who family members say was autistic and nonverbal. Police say she was severely malnourished, was covered in sores, some of her bone.
I have an autistic nonverbal cousin. I honestly hate, despise people that hurt those that are already very vulnerable and they can't literally communicate at all if they're in pain. So the parents of this, I hope you rot in prison for the rest of your life, and when you go down to HE double hockey sticks, it's even more terrible, because Jesus said that it's worse in hell in HE double hockey sticks than you tying a millstone around your neck and then jumping into the ocean. So I hope it is way worse for you, because this kid was 19. I'm 20. She was about my age when she died, and she was tortured. I bet she was tortured like this her entire life, and she knew nothing else. And honestly, the audacity that they sent her to school and the kid can't communicate at all what it's going like at home. Where's CPS? I know CPS already freaking sucks, and I know there's a lot of good people in CPS, like Child Protective Services, but there's also a lot of crappy ones, and there's a lot of crappy foster parents. Let's make the foster system great again, because it absolutely freaking sucks, and a lot of people that are trafficking victims and that get exploited a lot are from the foster system, and the vast majority of the people that are in prison were in the foster system. So clearly something's not adding up, and we need to change that, because it's happening a lot. Millions all over the world, especially in America. We need to change something about that, and we need probably regular checkups on those that are nonverbal and are severely autistic, because those that are autistic, they are more likely to be sextorted too. Sorry, here's my rant. Let's continue on with the story.
Were even exposed.
I'm a new parent myself. I have a 1-year-old daughter. She doesn't have any special needs, but there's nothing in the world I wouldn't do for that little girl.
Cops say the victim's mother, 41-year-old Crystal Canales, admitted she didn't seek medical attention, claiming it would cause her daughter to become violent. On Friday, 1 week later, Canales was arrested.
Okay, I get that when you take a nonverbal autistic kid to different locations and change up the routine, especially to the bright lights in the hospital room, and I was saying this as someone with a chronic illness and with chronic migraines, that the bright lights in the hospital rooms absolutely freaking suck. But if your kid needs medical attention and you can't fix it, and you called 24 hours after you knew that your kid was dead, that's still bull crap. Bull crap. I'm calling freaking bull crap, because you waited once your child was dead to call 911 so you can cover your tracks, because you're so much of an idiot, as it seems like, that you didn't assume the cops would have already known that the kid was dead for over 6 hours. Are you an idiot? Because it looks like you're an idiot. Bull crap. That's a freaking dumb lie. Dumb lie. I don't believe your story at all.
And charged with causing serious bodily injury to a disabled person under her care, a second-degree felony. Meantime, those who call Horseshoe Drive home, like Rochelle Stewart, are trying to come to terms with what went down right next door.
I don't know very much about them, but I just see them. I didn't even know they had a daughter.
So relative.
That's the one question I have right now, because the other guy said that the daughter goes to like school with his brother, and she said that she didn't even know that they had a daughter. And on what they stated, that it looks like the daughter was laying there for a long amount of time, and that takes hours of the outline. So did she go to school? I'm sure she had to, but this lady claims she didn't even know that they had a daughter. But then again, she couldn't have been paying attention most of the time. But I'm just assuming, if both accounts are true, they take the daughter to go to school during her required 8 hours, and knowing that she's nonverbal, she can't communicate her situation. And then when she gets picked up, which probably by the bus, I don't think her parents would care enough to even drive her to school. Which, I mean, if you go to the bus, that's honestly fair. Most people don't have the time to take your kids to school. And I'm not saying that because your parents didn't drive you, that they don't care about you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in this scenario, it seems like the parents don't care about this kid at all. That they would make the kid lay down. I don't know if she was cuffed or anything. I'm assuming that there's an outline, because I know my nonverbal autistic cousin, she moves around a lot. She likes to pace. So I doubt she was willingly, every kid's different, of course, willingly laying in the same spot for several hours.
Tell us there are other family members that live inside that home. Today, Today, when we knocked on the door, nobody answered. Tomorrow, police are expected to hold a press conference and give more information about this horrible case.
If she was severely malnourished, which I think they stated that she was because their bones were exposed. Did the teachers and no one else in the staff, because they have a legal right to report if they notice abuse, did they not notice that she was malnourished? That her bones were exposed? That clearly she wasn't being taken care of? Or did they just not want to rock the feathers? Like, I'm suspicious of the teachers that didn't report. I'm very suspicious. You have a legal right. And honestly, if they don't, I think they should be also held accountable too. But that's a bit harsh. I'm just saying, you have a legal right and you didn't report anything. That kid suffered and died. I'm sure that guilt is already enough for them. Anyways, let's go to the next one. I wish we got the name of the nonprofit that the second one, the Jesus. I don't know how she pronounces it, but I would love to meet Amanda Berry and Elizabeth Smart. I hope I do one day because it's like right up my alley and they're so cool and they're so strong. Honestly, horrendous what happened to them. I hope I get to meet them one day. That would be a dream come true. Alright, the next video.
On April 1st, 1990, a police officer...
I love Mr. Ballin. My brother introduced me to Mr. Ballin. Awesome stories, awesome storytelling, such a cool dude. He was like a Navy SEAL. He was in the military. So cool. I love his stories. I'm so glad my brother introduced me to him.
In Arizona was driving on the highway when he saw a tractor trailer that was pulled over on the side of the road with its hazards on. And so he pulls over, walks out to the driver's side door, and he looks up at the driver and says, "Hey, do you need any help?" And the driver is still sitting in the driver's seat, hands on the wheel, and just says, "No, I'm okay." The police officer doesn't know what it was, but there was something off. He couldn't tell what it was, so he asked him again, "Are you sure?"
This is what I'm telling you guys. Always trust your gut. Always, always, always trust your gut. If you have an icky, sketchy feeling, a sketchy vibe about someone, trust that feeling because your gut is never wrong. Your gut is never wrong. Always trust your gut, even if you feel like it'll make someone else uncomfortable. And this is coming from a people pleaser myself. Always, 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 always trust your gut. Always trust your gut. And I'm so glad this police officer did.
That nothing is wrong. And the driver, again, very sketchy, just says, "No, nothing's wrong." And so the police officer, acting on a gut instinct, says, "Hey, can you step out?" And so very reluctantly, the driver kind of slithers his way out of the vehicle, making sure that he doesn't fully open the door to kind of let the officer see what's going on inside his cab. He gets out and shuts the door, and the two start talking. Over the course of their conversation, the officer just kind of had enough and he said, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna need to search your vehicle." He opens up the door and goes inside, and there's nothing out of the ordinary in the front two seats. But when he looks into the back section where there was a sleeping compartment, and he sees there's this woman with her mouth gagged, handcuffed, huddling in the corner of this sleeping section, looking absolutely terrified. The officer immediately gets out and he grabs the guy and he puts him under arrest. As he's arresting him, the driver is saying, "No, she wants to be here. She chose to be here." But the officer didn't buy it and he said, "You're under arrest for kidnapping." The officer puts this guy in his cruiser and shuts the door, and then he calls for backup. When backup arrived, they were able to take the woman out. She was unhurt. She survived. But it would turn out that she was one of the very, very lucky few, because the driver was Robert Rhodes, aka the truck stop killer, who over the previous...
You'd be surprised on how many modern day serial killers are actually truck drivers, because not all truck drivers are bad and not all of them are on severe drugs. Some of them are really good and really nice people and down to earth, solid the earth people. But you would be surprised on how many modern serial killers are truck drivers because A, they're on the road alone all the time. 2, they're always on the road crossing state lines, what makes it harder for different police stations to be talking to each other. And 3, especially with Arizona and Nevada, there is absolutely nothing on the road, and a lot of people, they check out mentally when they're driving around those areas because there's just a whole lot of nothing. I think it was a police chief that said, I don't know if it was Arizona and Nevada, but he truly believes that if you stick up every single dead body that's in that desert area, it would be a force, which I full-heartedly believe because no one's really gonna be that suspicious if you see a semi-truck or truck at all, especially since they know the area a lot. They know good places to hide because they just assume that they've broken down, right? And no one's gonna stop on a busy highway just to go check it out unless you're one of those nice people, but a lot of people, they don't do that nowadays. So you'd be very surprised on how many truck drivers, like semi-truck drivers, or people that always are on the road are serial killers because they can get away with a lot, especially since no one really investigates vast deserts because it's always so hot and you could get lost very easily. And if they don't have reason to believe to investigate, they won't.
20 years had killed over 50 women. He was one of the most prolific serial killers in American history. But the crime that the truck stop killer was actually known for was not this kidnapping where this woman survived. It was the kidnapping and murder of a woman named Regina K. Walters. Regina was a young woman who came from a broken home, and at the age of 14, she ran away and began hitchhiking across Texas with her boyfriend. In February of 1990, Rhodes picked up Regina and her boyfriend who were looking for a ride. Rhodes almost immediately kills Regina's boyfriend and takes Regina captive, and he keeps her chained up in his traveling torture chamber for several years before ultimately killing her as well. After Rhodes was finally arrested by this Arizona police officer on the side of the highway, the investigation searched Rhodes' house and they found some pictures. This is a picture of Regina K. Walters in the abandoned barn where her body was ultimately found.
It doesn't even look like that's her attire, like her normal attire as we saw from previous pictures. So I bet he made her dress up as one of his fantasies before he murdered her in his abandoned barn. Because look at that, she has her hair up, she has a dress that she most doubtedly does not wear because it does not seem like her style, and she has those heels on. I bet $100 that this serial killer made these women dress up and in a certain fantasy and act in a certain fantasy, and then he murdered them. Because I bet it didn't match his fantasy on what reality was. Because it does not seem like her attire. Well, sign me up for the FBI profiler. Oh my god. Oh, we have one more. Oh, and this one's a bit controversial because this one is going to be a video that was released by the FEI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, on the Epstein files. And why it's so controversial is A, people don't believe that he actually committed suicide. 2, it also involves politics. And 3, because it involves politics, that people keep on saying that they're going to release the Epstein files, but they never do. So yeah.
So this is a still from the security camera in Jeffrey Epstein's cell block on the night that he...
Okay, so they've been claiming, I don't know if he's going to go over this, they've been claiming that the video cameras weren't working that day, the day that Epstein killed himself, and now, magically, 12 hours ago from when this video was made, so like maybe yesterday when they released these files, like this video, something ain't adding up, and it never has been.
Allegedly unalived himself. The government just released this full video today, and they claim that this proves that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't killed by someone. I scanned through a ton of this video.
The trash can moved. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the trash can moved. Something's edited here, because the trash can just moved.
It's over 10 hours long. And yes, obviously you don't see anybody wearing a balaclava with a machine gun sneaking into the room, or somebody in a catsuit with a ski mask on running into the room with a rope in their hands. But I do want you to consider. So the timestamps and everything here, the markings on the video in the top left, the bottom left, and the right side. I don't know how to eloquently word this, but these timestamps aren't on surfaces that somebody would walk by. If you know what I'm saying, like I don't really know what this is right here, but this is clearly not a walkway. This is like a wall door with a telephone. And yeah, you'd have to be a gargantuan human being to touch the ceiling over there in the top left. So by claiming that nobody walked in this area, it doesn't really necessarily prove anything to me. Think of how advanced CGI and AI is nowadays.
And then the trash can moved. I don't know if that's important, but obviously the trash can friggin' moved.
If you don't think that your government would edit a video like this to cut someone out of it, you'd be absolutely insane. Now, is this proven? Obviously.
It moved again. The trash can moved again. I know I'm not crazy. I may have high functioning anxiety, but I know I'm not crazy. That moved again, and maybe because I have high functioning anxiety, I noticed that.
Not. But why all of a sudden do they have this footage when for years they've claimed that the cameras weren't working that evening?
It moved again! The trash can moved! I am not insane. Something's edited here. Either it's just certain clips that he's showing, but the trash can keeps on moving.
Now all of a sudden they just magically found this clip which exonerates the government of any wrongdoing right after Trump was accused of being in the files himself?
Actually, okay, he is written within what has been released. It was him and Epstein because they were friends, and he was friends with a lot of people who claimed that they didn't know any of this was going on. But on this plane, Epstein offered a massage from a masseuse that was underage, and Trump denied it. And with the recent scandal, you know that, what's his name? Elon Musk said that Trump was inside the files, and which is why it hasn't been released. But we all know that if he was inside the files, that would have been released by the Democrats a long time ago, and that would have knocked him out of the presidential run. So if he actually was, they would have pulled that out during his first run, and most certainly during his second run, because no one wanted him to win, especially during the second run, and he won the popular vote, so a lot of people actually wanted him to win. But if he actually was inside the files, that would have been released a long time ago, but that's just another tangent.
Yeah, none of this makes sense, and I know that there's going to be some expert analysis done on this footage, but just go watch it yourself. I mean, there are times in this video where there's literally nothing going on. There's no one moving in the background. There's nothing down here. Nobody's moving around. There's no movement I'm trying to get across, which would be a perfect frame to duplicate or to cut in and out, manipulate the timestamp. If you don't think that they'd do it, I really don't know what to tell you. But to me, this proves absolutely nothing. Just go read this release and this document for yourself. It's truly disheartening and disturbing stuff. I mean, they say in here that Epstein had over 1,000 victims, which is a figure I've never necessarily heard before.
Okay, if he's never heard of that before, then he doesn't know the Epstein thing at all. This is getting me like riled up because this is right up my alley with human trafficking, and I've heard lots of various theories, and all of them seem very probable. I'm not one to trust the government. I probably never will, and I honestly don't even think whoever is in office would truly release the Epstein files, because there's a lot of powerful people, and with the new FBI director, I don't think he's been in politics very much. You can fact check me on that. But if a lot of powerful people are threatening you, because he was like, his huge thing was he was going to release the files. That was like this huge thing, and theoretically they did, but all of that was blacked out on what they gave to the political influencers. That was all blacked out. But there's a lot of powerful people, and if a lot of them were threatening to kill your family, you would most likely not release the files at all, right? Because they've been claiming it for a long time ago, since last year, and it hasn't happened, and I honestly don't think it ever will happen. Yeah, don't trust government, kids.
But they still are sticking with the story that he actually unalived himself, and that he was not trafficking to high-profile people, and that there was no blackmail, of course. All the cameras installed in Epstein's homes and properties were just for fun, I guess, or security. Now, obviously, this is a rabbit hole that goes incredibly deep, and I can't handle it all in one TikTok video, but according to the federal government, this is the last time they're going to speak on Epstein. So, make of all of this what you will.
This is the last, honey, this ain't gonna be the last time, because he's a huge man and a huge controversy surrounding him. This ain't gonna be the last time you guys are gonna talk about him, because you're the literal Federal Bureau of Investigation, and this is not gonna be your last time talking about him, because everyone's gonna be talking about him, and you're gonna be forced to talk about him again, and I'm sure in future politics it's gonna be mentioned, it's gonna be brought up, and then you're gonna be dragged right back into it. So you have a lot of information that a lot of us don't have, and we want to have it because we want to know. We want to know the truth behind what happened, what's going on. I've heard theories that Epstein was working with the government to get blackmail on high-profile people. I can believe that. I hear theories that he was just an average guy. He wasn't working with the government and he was just a severe weirdo. Like, there's a lot of theories surrounding Epstein, and you can have a deep dive, and a lot of it's just not going to be answered, and that's why it's called a conspiracy theory, because we don't truly know and we don't have the files, so we don't know the facts. But yeah, I'm glad we ended off on a good TikTok. All of them were good, and I hope you enjoyed my tangents. And I'm gonna be filming all day because I'm gonna be in Cali, and I don't think I'll be able to film there. So if you see me in the same outfit, well, that's what's going on. As I mentioned in the other video, that's what's happening because I'm gonna be in Cali, and I don't know if I'm gonna be able to film. So have an awesome day. I hope you enjoyed watching these TikToks with me. I know I certainly did. This is a lot of fun, and I'm glad we got to dive deep in all of these TikToks and get to hear my tangents mostly. So have an awesome day.